Welcome to the 2021 Legislative Conversations virtual event. I'm Daxton Mays, Chairman of the Governmental Affairs Committee for the Hartselle Area Chamber of Commerce. The Hartselle Area Chamber of Commerce is committed to engaging our business community in the legislative process and want to take this opportunity to engage our businesses with our legislative body here in the local area. This event is generally part of our State of the State address and breakfast. However, this year we are offering this as a virtual event. Some of the questions you'll hear during this event came from the polling of our membership and community members to get their feedback to what they want to hear about and what they want to hear from our legislators. We are excited to be able to present this, and you will get to hear from our local legislative body, and we hope you enjoy.
And now it's time for our fifth of 5 segments. If you have made time to listen to all 4 of the previous segments up to now, thank you. And we hope that these have been helpful in you learning a little bit more about the legislative process and the role that you play. Our senator and representatives, they are there working hard to represent you and your voice. So take time to reach out to them. Go to our website at www.hartsellechamber.com and find ways to be able to contact them with other questions or just give them some appreciation for what they do every day. Additionally, here in this last segment, I'm calling it our closing remarks. This is an opportunity for them to be able to address any issue that we didn't have a question on from the community. So get ready to hear from them regarding issues like gaming, the lottery, and even medical marijuana. They have very important things to say about those things and help us to get a perspective on why those are coming up in the legislature this session, or even if they will. So thank you again for tuning in, and we hope again that this is educational for you. Showcase it. So we are really coming to the close of our questions that were submitted by the community, but I did want to just ask you or give you a chance to highlight a few things that potentially could come up. One of them is medical marijuana. I never thought I'd see the day when Alabama would be discussing legalizing medical marijuana, but tell us a little bit about why that's coming forward and, where we have historically been as a state and where we are today on it.
Yes, absolutely. So recently over the summer, I've been appointed to the Health Committee and very excited about the appointment to this committee, but I knew as soon as I received the letter from the speaker that this is going to be on the table for this year's session. And this is not our first day of hearing this. We've been hearing it for a while now. And I'll tell you, as long as, and I've been talking to everybody, every group that I'm in, and we're in conversation, I ask them this question: how are they feeling about it? What's their feel about it? And majority of people that I talked with are for it. But they're for it for certain reasons. If it's controlled, if it's not smoking, if it's a pill or a liquid form, there's kids that have seizures and who really need this. It's medically proven that it will make the quality of their life better. I mean, that's something huge. Who are we to tell a parent that you can't treat your kid and make their life better because, we don't believe in that. Now, personally, I don't believe in drugs. I don't think recreational will never happen in the state of Alabama. We're too conservative. We're too Republican. I mean, that's just against everything we stand for. But we do stand for taking care of one another. And if this can make a kid's life or an individual's life better, why are we holding back and not doing that? So, you hear the word marijuana, and I really wish they would because it's actually not marijuana. It's divided up and chopped up, and it's got just a small hint of it. So they're using a fraction of the drug to create this oil or pill that could enhance somebody's life. So I really wish they could call it medical something else, so THC or something. So, but I think, at the end of the day, if we can enhance somebody's life, if we can have a kid that can't hold a spoon to eat, take this medicine and hold it as you and I and be able to eat their food and their quality of life is so much better. Who are we to say you can't do that? So as long as it's controlled and it's for a medical use, I think we need to do it as a state. I really do.
That's good. Anything you'd like to say about that?
Well, absolutely. I was actually a co-sponsor on the bill, and I'm 100% for it. And I agree 100% with what Representative Stadhagen just said. You know, the results show. And, you know, I think that a lot of people's concerns is it's going to be a gateway to legalize, and that will not be the case. Under the current bill that we have drafted, it will be one of the most strict in the entire country. And I think it's going to wind up being a model for tweaking and changing. And it'll be under, in which Scott was alluding to, marijuana aspect. It's actually comes from the hemp plant, which is the female part of the plant, and the male actually fertilizes the female, which produces the high psychedelic effects, if you will. And it will be under the 0.3 THC. So you get 1 month supply, and it will not be in a smokable form. That's not written into the bill. It's going to be a tablet or, you know, a capsule or something of that nature, an inhaler type. And you would have to take the entire month supply even to just get a buzz. So if someone's looking for that, it's not going to work. So it's going to be put into place where you can actually have it if you need it, but it's not going to produce what people off the street are going to be wanting. So that'll kind of alleviate some of those concerns, hopefully.
I want to also, you know, we just finished our census, and I think there's some question about how it's going to impact the state of Alabama. I think our numbers were good. Our numbers were actually very good, especially here in the North Alabama area. But I know that you all are going to be faced with some of the questions about redistricting and how even at a federal level that's going to impact us. So just want to open that up for any kind of comments that you'd like to speak to about the census and the closing of the census.
Sure. I think, you know, we of course don't know the official results yet of the census, but from every indication, we're going to be right there on the borderline, whether we lose a congressional seat or not. And, you know, this area is seeing tremendous growth, especially up in, you know, parts of my district. I'm going to see tremendous, you know, residential growth here within the next year or so that is not going to be accurately represented because the census just took place, but we're bringing in all the Mazda Toyota plants. All those people are starting to come in now that were not counted. So it's not going to be accurately represented for another 10 years. So we represent roughly 46 to 48,000 people in our districts. And over these next 10 years, you know, the growth potential in our area is going to be 10, 20,000 maybe. You know, so it's going to be hard to judge, you know, and accurately draw our districts because in our area, we really don't know what the future is going to hold to accurately represent the people we serve.
How about you, Scott? Anything to contribute
Yes,
to that?
I'd like to start off. We promoted the census, and I want to thank all the citizens who filled out their census forms. Morgan County had a very good showing. Coleman County as well, and it's because of you that we're going to be able to keep the billions of dollars that come into our state. And I think y'all have really understood the impact of you not filling that form out has. Every indication that I'm hearing is we are not going to lose a congressional seat. There's going to be a special session this summer once the census numbers are finalized and stamped, and we'll come back in and deal with what Representative Parker was talking about with our redistricting lines. We haven't experienced it personally. It is going to be a new experience for us, but I will say it's very challenging because there's 105 representatives, and we all have to represent the same amount throughout the state, no matter what that number is. So it's going to be divided, and we all have to be within 1% of one another. So that's going to be the challenging part. Hopefully our lines won't move too much, but if you move one, you impact 3 or 4 legislators, and that's the typical part. So, and like Parker said, there's a lot going on north of his district, and, you know, we've got a lot of people moving to Hartselle, like I said. You know, we got 38 homes available as today. So who knows how this is going to turn out. I'm not worried as much as about district lines as much as I am about the other things, but it is going to be challenging, and it's going to be fun, that's for sure.
Well, we have really wrapped up our time here, and before we close, I just wanted to give y'all an opportunity to address something that maybe we haven't asked a question about that may be near and dear to your heart. So is there anything else that's on your mind that you'd like the community to hear about? Parker.
Sure. I just want to, reiterate that it is an honor and a privilege to serve alongside Representative Stadhagen and all the others down there in Montgomery. And, we are your voice. And I encourage you to, if you have an issue or see a need, to please reach out to us, and we'll be happy to put out our information so you can and reach out to us if you don't have our contact. And, please never hesitate. We're always open and always have an open door policy. So, yeah.
Yes, I'd like to start off by thanking you as well. This job, it truly is a blessing to represent the people of District 9. And it's something that I remind myself every day driving to Montgomery of why I ran, what the objective of my job is, and who am I representing. And I ask myself every time, too, am I doing the job that I need to do for you guys? I set a high standard for myself, and I want to know if I am or not. So of course, a lot of people have reached out with different issues throughout the state, and I appreciate that, and I'm glad that you were doing so, and I encourage more, like Representative Parker said. But I do want to say, through this time that we've experienced, that, just keep faith. Keep faith and pray, and we're going to make it through it, and we're going to end on a positive note. And I want to know, if y'all need us, let me know. But I want you to know, too, that my family and I are praying for all the healthcare workers, all the first responders, all the teachers, all the retailers, the restaurants, everybody that's in the public eye right now. And the healthcare workers, we can't say enough. For my goodness, they're putting in the extra hours. They're tired. They have no extra energy to even take care of their families. And those are the true heroes. And we're praying for you, and we're doing all we can, like everybody can do. And hopefully this vaccine will come through and will help us with it and social distancing, and we can get through it. But just know that we're praying for you guys, and thank y'all. It truly is an honor to represent y'all in Montgomery.
I'm excited because at Senator Stadhagen's invitation, the Chamber will be taking a trip to Montgomery in the spring, and we invite anyone who's interested in coming and visiting their offices and checking out how they do business there. We're really excited about that opportunity and look forward to sharing more about that in the days to come. Also, what you've witnessed here today is what we call our annual legislative breakfast, and we decided to do it virtually because of the pandemic, but next year, this will be a in-person event. We'll have a breakfast. We'll have an opportunity for you to actually shake their hand and get to speak to them personally. And so we're really excited about just continuing an annual event like that so that, again, we can have these people who are your voice get to interact with you on a personal level and be able to share your voice with those where they could really make a difference. So anyway, thank you so much. Please let us know how we can serve you and any other ways that we can connect you with those that can answer the questions that you might have. So thank you very much. Those are really all the questions that we got from the community, but I did want to open up the opportunity for you to speak on a few things that I know could possibly come up in this session. One is medical marijuana, and what do you expect to see in terms of any kind of legislation on that, and do you help us understand its benefit or negative effects?
Well, that's something that came up in the Senate last year. The House did not take it up. The bill is sponsored by a doctor, a senator out of the Shoals area. I've got my concerns about medical marijuana, particularly when it's so broad. And by that I mean it can be prescribed for pain, for sleeping disorders, for anxiety. So you get into these larger, very hard to define diagnoses, if you will. And then, okay, here's your prescription for medical marijuana. And I know in other states it's a trend, but if it's going to pass, I hope it's very tightly written and does not basically open Pandora's box to a potential for abuse out there. Of course, people could say, well, look, what about the opioid issue that happened and the opioid abuse that led to many deaths across the country? That's just as concerning. And so don't want to be too hard on medical marijuana, but by the same token, don't want to just open the floodgates and it becomes commonplace. Exactly.
Yeah, that's I think a healthy balance.
Well, people have, cancer patients, people like that, real need good drug. There are situations, but I also know, just given history, take the opioids, there are doctors who will willy-nilly prescribe whatever people want, and we saw it with the opioid abuse. That's certainly a small minority of the medical community, but just you find people like that in all walks of life.
Yeah, and hopefully we've learned from that and been.
You would hope,
yes.
but I guess I get too cynical when there's a chance of people when you put money around.
Maybe in the same vein, because these are issues that people are on either side of the aisle on their morality, would be our lottery and gambling. And again, what do you expect to maybe see in that arena and its impact?
Yeah, so speaking to a good North Alabama group here, here's, and I tell people in Montgomery, we don't follow the gaming world, not talking about lottery here, I'm talking about gaming, like they do Birmingham South. It's just a little bit different up here. But that being said, so a free lottery, just a standalone lottery, I think could pass the legislature, could pass the people voting for it. I think it would pass. The problem becomes those in the gaming world in Alabama with the video bingo, they don't want just a clean standalone lottery to pass unless their interests are part of it. And they want to be involved and be part of a package deal, if you will. Governor Ivey had a gaming commission or gambling commission study the issue, 800 pages. You can probably find it on her website. With COVID, I don't know how much time we'll have to take up this controversial legislation. And then where's the money going to go? If you pass this and then the people pass this, does the money go to education? Does it go to prisons? Does it go to general fund? There are a lot of hands out there wanting the newfound revenues that you see. So quite frankly, I'm disappointed that we can't put just a standalone lottery before the people to vote up or down like they did in 2000 or in the Siegelman administration, and let them vote their conscience. And then if the gamers had a bill, we do that as well and allow a gaming type bill. Now, the gaming they're talking about today is not the video bingo. It is table games, the full casino type gaming that you consider. Then I worry about what will the locals have to say if they don't want it in their community. So let's take, for example, Hartselle. And let's say a bill passes for the gaming community and they say, we want to locate between Hartselle and Faultville right there on the interstate, and we want to build a $75 million casino. That makes sense for us, and we want to do that. Between Birmingham and Nashville, works well for us. We want to do it. Well, what do the people of Morgan County have to say about that would, some wouldn't like it, some would. But should the locals not have some kind of say when it comes to bringing that industry to town? So we'll see. To me, that's also a concern that as legislation advances, and I've told the sponsor, that's another one of my concerns that I think need to be addressed. There needs to be some kind of local voice in all this before a big developer comes and plops something down in a county that, quite frankly, doesn't want it, and have some kind of local autonomy on that.
Last question. We just finished the census. North Alabama did pretty well on their reporting, but there is questions about whether or not we're going to be able to maintain a seat in Congress. So tell us what you're hearing, and what do you think, how do you think all this is going to pan out, and what impact does the state legislature have on some of those decisions?
Well, a couple things there. With the Congress, the latest report I saw from PARCA, and that's the group out of Birmingham, they said we made it by 6,000 people.
Wow.
And
thank you, 6,000 people.
But our competition is New York State. So New York State, if we were to keep 7, New York State would lose 2 U.S. representatives. I also know who just is, today is inauguration day, who's getting inaugurated, and I know politics, and I don't want to suggest or insinuate anything, but you never know. And so I wouldn't take that 6,000 to the bank. That was based on an estimate, but I'm sure the state of New York to only lose 1, if there's a way they can challenge, or anyway, we'll just see. We won't know until the end of February, I'm told, or end of March, as to what our true standing is in the country on those U.S. representatives. I sit on the reapportionment committee, was there in 2010, and we redraw the lines for the whole legislature, House and Senate, and then the Alabama State Board of Education as well. So we'll do that again, and we do the congressionals, but it will depend on 6 or 7, how many seats we have. We won't do that, I understand, until July, August time period, and we'll have a special session to deal with reapportionment, and then all the fun and games begin, people wanting certain areas or not wanting certain areas in their districts.
And so that reapportionment happens every 10 years.
Correct.
After the census
Correct.
numbers come out.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Well, I want to give you a quick second. If there's anything we haven't addressed that you'd like to speak to for the community as a whole, or whatever else might be on your mind, and then we'll close up.
I want to thank you, Missy, for having me in the Hartselle Chamber and for doing this. I hope I haven't bored you all too long or too much. I get a tendency to give too much information, as my wife reminds me, but it's important for you all to know what goes on in state government, why it goes on, and certainly get answers. And that's certainly a good thing if you've endured this particular set of the Q&A. I want to also thank you for allowing me to represent you in Montgomery. It's certainly an honor, and I don't take it lightly, and I thank you for having that privilege. And if there's ever anything I can do within my power or authority, I certainly welcome any issues that you may want to bring to my attention, or any help or assistance we can do to, whether it's fighting the bureaucracy or certain needs that we have in the area. I certainly take all input from all quarters. So that's my role as an elected person. But thank you again for allowing me the privilege of representing Hartselle and Morgan County and the rest of my district for the time that the Lord and you permit me to do that. So thank you so much, and again, I thank you for watching this, and please contact me if I can be of help. Thank you. Bye.
We want to thank you for joining in to this event. We hope you found it educational and we hope that you learned something and became a little bit closer to our legislators and our legislative process. The Governmental Affairs Committee is going to offer several other opportunities throughout the year, one being a trip to Montgomery to meet with our legislators. We're also going to be having a State of the City address, a State of the Schools address, a State of Healthcare address, and we're also going to be reaching into the local communities to hear about what's going on with some of our surrounding areas. Lastly, we're going to be working to develop our public policy agenda for the 2021-2022 year, and we're asking for volunteers. We would love to have you join in, make your voice heard, and be a part of our committee as we move forward and work to move Hartselle in the right direction.
If these sessions have been helpful to you, please take a moment and reach out to your state legislator or senator and let him know how much. You can find a way to contact them at our website at www.hartsellechamber.com and go to our Legislative Resources page. We hope you understand that the Hartselle Area Chamber of Commerce exists to serve you. As a nonprofit, we accomplish the task of helping to make Hartselle and the surrounding area a better place to live, work, and play through volunteer leadership. So come join us. Find a way to plug in and to get involved and work together to help make this the best place to live, to work, and to play.